Hey guys, this is Russ. I'm going to show you how to flip the switches and kind of get them wired up. So we're going to be working with dip switches. Right. So in your kit you'll have one of these. So it's basically, you can think about it as a bunch of like 12 independent switches, right? And you can you can toggle each of the switches by themselves. So you look at the bottom, right? You'll have these kind of pins, right, on the bottom. They're fairly fragile, so what I would recommend you do is you look in your kit and you'll find one of these IC sockets. You should find a 12 pin or 24 pin socket like this. Very carefully take your dip switch, make sure it's lined up over the holes individually. Right, you can bend them if you need with the pliers, and once they're all over the holes, kind of push in gently. All right, so do that very carefully, very slowly, because as I said, the pins are very fragile. But once you do that, you'll have something like this. Right, so the socket is now sitting sitting under the dip switch. All right, so then what you'll do is you'll take the dip switch, and you're going to need to do a couple things. You're going to basically need to connect it to power and ground and a pull down resistor. So here's an example of a circuit that I included in the lab handout of an individual switch. So on one end you'll see, so this is our switch. On one end it's connected to power, VDD. All right, on the other end, that's where you're going to connect it to whatever you're going to be using as an input. Also, at the same point, you're going to connect that to a resistor, and you're going to connect the resistor to ground. All right, it's important to do it exactly this way. All right, so what does that look like? So, again, we have our dip switch. We're going to line the pins up carefully over a groove on our board. All right, line the pins up very carefully, and then gently push in. Okay. Okay, very carefully push in. All right. So we're there, we're good. So then what we can do is we're gonna hook one end of these switches to power and the other to ground. All right, so we'll do this as follows. So we're going to again take the, so you'll remember that we wired up our power and ground all over the board. So it'd be very easy to just take a small wire, connect it from a power strip over to one of the corresponding pins for a switch that we want to use. All right, and we'll just do that all the way down the board to wire up all of these pins. And then we're going to take our resistor strip. So this is our resistor strip. So you'll note, if you look carefully, there's some writing on the resistor strip. And on one end, there's a little dot. So that dot is a common end. So that's the part that we're going to connect to ground. All the other points, we're going to basically connect to the switch. So a way to do that is to basically take the pin that is going to be the common, push it onto the board so that it's not connected to any of the other pins for the dip switch. Right, and all the other pins for the dip switch are connected to the dip switch. All right, so you push that down. All right. So then, if I'm looking from the top, it should look like this. All right, so you'll see that the very furthest north pin is isolated from all the other this side of the dip switch. All right, and that pin we're going to connect to ground. So again, we're going to just take a small wire, and we're going to connect it to one of our ground strips. Okay, so at this point we can test to see that the switch is connected correctly. We can pick one of our pins. All right, so we're going to test to see if switch 1 is connected, and we're going to tap it with our probe, and our probe gives us solid off. So I'm going to flip the switch to on. Again, tap it, and now I get solid off. All right, back to off, tap it, solid off. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to basically repeat this process, connecting power to all of the pins on this side that you want to use. All right, just as I did for the first one up here. There. Okay.